Yeah.
Let's give it a second to not look weird. It always takes a second to like, hey everybody, what's going on? I'm sure you can hear us all fine. And I just saw Josh wave, but
Oh, why is there no video?
the screen is like frozen.
Oh,
So, it takes like a minute. Oh, now I'm trying to
so nobody
Do you
saw the
ever?
kitten.
Oh no,
But
the kitten's there. The kitten is there.
oh, okay.
There's like a little bit of a lag.
Pirate
This
cat.
is looking much better now. Okay, it doesn't have a name yet though, does it?
None of them do. Yeah.
They're just nameless bastard
Nameless.
children.
Yeah, what do you call them?
I call them nuggets,
Oh,
and
so
then
cute.
the redhead is a buffalo chicken nugget.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cute.
That's my favorite one.
I don't know. This one is like my shadow. He or she goes wherever I go.
You don't even know
And
if it's a he or a
I
she.
can't tell. Like, all their genitals look the same.
For those
And
of you who are
I'm like, I can't tell if that's a peen or
like, let's just set the
so
scene.
little.
For anybody listening after the fact on the podcast, Steve is holding up a kitten like a fucking, I don't know.
It
Like,
was being a parrot on my shoulder.
It was like a parrot on his shoulder. Then he's holding it up basically like, and it's like completely spread out like super cute kittens. I'm glad they're doing healthy and doing well. Doug is on the stream. Shout out to Doug. We love you.
Yeah,
Doug.
well, because I told you it was like 8 weeks before I can give them away, but I feel like it's because of like weaning off nursing with the mother and eating their own food and stuff and like being independent. And they've been pretty independent the past few week or so. And I think she's taught them the litter box, but they were still like, I'd try to bring kitten food and they just wouldn't even like acknowledge it. And today was the first time I saw, like, when I went to feed the mom, like a couple of the kittens ran over and started eating the food too. So I'm like, okay, they're starting to actually understand like solid food, which I assume means that they're getting pretty close to being able to be independent. They just grow up so fast.
Oh, so cute.
Oh no.
Oh, why is the screen? The screen has really been feeling some type of way lately. So apologies to anybody watching live. It is just wants to freeze every so often, but it allows you guys to giggle at kind of our goofy faces when it does freeze. So just be aware.
All the derps.
You know when your mom is like, yeah, the derp faces. And your mom's like, if you put your face like that, it'll stay like that. Well, sometimes. So what I found out, we have a Wi-Fi extender, which is great, but it's like useless because we upgraded our Wi-Fi anyway, and it's not connected to the extender. So I don't know what that means. I feel like the Wi-Fi is good, but it could be even better if like it was connected to the extender in my bedroom here. So.
Yeah, and another thing you need that is helpful that I actually didn't know until Daniel came over to the house is I have the pods for Xfinity, and I got 3 pods because my house is like a long, narrow house, and my router and everything is on one end of the house. So the other end is like, it's not like in the middle of the house. So I was like, I'll get the pods and just make a chain. But what Danny was saying is what happens is if you actually have them too close to each other, then your device that's connecting, if it's somewhere in between, gets confused on which to connect to. So then it actually makes the internet worse because it's like going back and forth trying to like the pods are competing. So he's like, just remove that one. He's like, honestly, if you just put one in the center of your house, it's going to pick up, you know, your router on the one end and extend it to the other end. So yeah, technically I only need one pod, but I bought 3. But it was good to know because I was like, even after getting the pods, I was like, why am I not connecting? I can't load a single page.
We have like issues where every time we start our smart TV, it's not connected to anything. So we have to like reset the connection every time we turn our TV on. Like for the most part, I would say we do this every other day. It's not every single time, but the majority of times, like we'll get into bed, ready to watch TV, turn on Storage Wars, and it's like, boom, not connected to the internet. I'm just like, why? Why not?
That's annoying.
I hate that.
It's
Does
first
it
world
ever,
problems.
like,
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
it's so
hard.
frustrating.
God damn it, my internet, my Wi-Fi. God,
And-
we're all so privileged.
You have the smart TV, right?
Yeah, we have Roku.
Yeah. So does it ever have that conflict where it's, your PlayStation or Xbox can control the TV and vice versa because of the smart link? And so sometimes it would get annoying because I would to turn the Xbox off, but then I would turn the TV off and it would turn the Xbox back on because it's just like it's supposed to work that when you turn your Xbox on, it automatically turns the TV on as well. And so those links sometimes it's more frustrating than it is helpful. It's like, no, just both of you turn off. We'll turn back on.
Damn inconvenient technology.
I know. So Josh, I noticed you're back in the kitchen again.
Yeah, so I realized I had a lot more room at my kitchen table. So I tried, I still got Spider-Man there. I put a little Goku there. So maybe the background's a little better. But I wanted to be able to see like my microphone, make it look more podcasty.
Oh, I like that.
You are the best, Josh. Sweet baby Josh.
I think I need to get a new microphone because this one, it's a boom mic, basically a shotgun mic that I was using for like recording audio on site for weddings and stuff, and it works fine. But I noticed it's got like no bottom end when I was editing the podcast last week. I mean, I've been quieter than everybody, but I feel like everybody else's voice sounds full and mine just sounds very mid to upper range. Like, so
And
I
in
feel
real
like,
life, you have like a really deep voice.
Yeah.
So, right?
well,
like,
a nasally deeper voice. So it's like, I feel like it's got it's not on the setting, it's on the flat setting, but I feel like it's still sort of, maybe the microphone's doing one of those filtering off the lower frequencies. So,
well,
this mic isn't made for this, so.
yeah. I mean, I have to have mine in my face because otherwise, like, you wouldn't be able to hear me. Like, if I move away from it, even this is like full, like on my
Josh is
interface, it's like
always the
full
loudest.
volume,
Yeah, mine you have to be like I probably should be like this to
far
it.
away from it.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it
like
just-
a condenser mic, so
It's nice. It
Yeah.
looks
Yeah,
looks cool.
Did you
Yeah.
use it last week?
No, last week was when I tried using it in there on my Mac and couldn't get Zoom working, so I had to jump on this computer real quick.
That's
What mic did you
literally
use
every
last
stream.
week?
I just used my computer mic last week.
Oh, okay, because you were pretty loud last week, so I was gonna
Really?
say if you're using the same mic, maybe turn the gain down. But
Nah.
I mean,
But
you
I-
sound fine in my cans.
Okay.
Oh, Steve's calling
I
them
haven't-
cans. Industry term. Industry term.
Uh-oh.
What kind of gear are you running? What do I even have? Audio Technica, I think.
Mine's Sennheiser. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
Sennheiser Focusrite MXL. I feel real professional saying all that stuff.
Very, very pro.
yeah, these
All
are
good gear.
my film recording headphones.
Finding a good set of headphones is a battle, especially living in an apartment and only playing a keyboard. Like, I obviously cannot have a regular piano here. Like, I would be bugging the shit out of everybody. So I have to have headphones, and they're all like, a good over-the-ear pair is so hard to find. Good sound quality. Does it give you a headache? Are they too tight? Like, it's a lot of things because you end up wearing them. Even audio editing, obviously, or playing the drums. Like, I'm sure finding a good pair of headphones is like finding a couch. It's like it's like a life event.
Yeah, it's so true. I've had these for a while.
I was going to point out in our YouTube, we've got a comment from, by the way, it's a cool name. It's like band name, or Death Fears None. It's kind of philosophical and dark and brooding. But anyways, they said they have the same issue with the smart TV and Fire Stick when he uses the voice commands. It turns his PlayStation on. So good to know I'm not the only one that.
Yeah, wireless.
Yeah.
And then Doug says wireless gaming headphones. I've never tried wireless gaming headphones, but I'm sure they are pretty comfortable. I mean, gamers have it figured out, man, because they also sit in front of their computers for hours, so they got the comfiest chairs. Like, this is like the IKEA special that I'm sitting in right now, and it's okay.
I have an IKEA chair too.
Like, it's okay. It's better for it's better than the one I used to have. Let me say that, because that IKEA special was like $20. This is now like the $50 chair or something. But it doesn't lean back. So I was like, I just needed something with a tall back, because when I listen to music, when I'm mixing and stuff, I like to close my eyes and put my head back, and I can't do that in a regular ass chair. So, but then I was like, this one, it doesn't even like lean back. It's so uncomfortable sometimes. But then then I'll just go lay on my bed, because literally my bedroom serves as music studio, office, makeup studio. I mean, this is it. I have one room in my house. Everything's in it.
That's awesome, though.
One room in my apartment. Yeah. Yeah, it's an okay chair, but I mean, like, if it's one of those things that's also a pretty big investment when you get one of those nice studio chairs. Those can be a couple $100. So it's like an investment. The good chair.
Okay, the chair that I have.
We're all talking about our chairs.
Out of it.
Quality content. I started it, so whatever.
Is from the house the whole band lived in Antioch. Remember, and we used to rehearse in the bonus room above the garage.
Yep.
And the ladies that rented it out to us had like a couple office chairs up there, and so I still have that chair. That it went with us to Nashville and with me to Murfreesboro, to a bunch of different houses, and it's so old, and it really, like, a few years ago when I was still at Tommy's house, I was just working from home, like only doing music stuff. And I would be at the computer for hours a day, and my back was freaking killing me. And I realized this chair's got like no padding left in it or anything. So all I did was buy like a Tempur-Pedic cushion for my ass, and then like one of those like lumbar things.
Nice. See, this is why Steve is like the thrifty, business-minded leader of the band, is because he's been using the same chair for 10 years.
Yeah, I could get a new chair, but my solution is to get a cushion. Yeah, no, there's just certain things. It's like it's like when it comes to video game stuff or different things, it's like I want the newest thing as soon as it comes out. But then other stuff, like all my cars, like I'll have for like 10 years or so.
Dude, a car is different.
They start
I feel
have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then my phone, everybody makes fun of me because I still have the 6S.
Yeah, you have an old
Plus.
phone. Yeah,
wow.
You need to upgrade.
They're like, dude, your phone's like 10 years old, and I'm like, it's not 10 years old. It is several generations back.
Didn't they just release the iPhone 13 now?
Or Apple just had the conference yesterday.
Yeah.
Announced,
that's crazy.
Some other things. Doug in the chat said that wireless gaming headphones are the way to go.
He put a link in our Discord.
I like the wireless is getting so much better, but I always get like, especially for headphones. I mean, if I were gaming, it'd be different, but using something for monitoring like audio for like mixing, I get weary about wireless, because I'll use wireless for the lav mics and stuff, but especially on something when you're like on set and you've only got that one chance, especially for like a wedding. There's no take two. It's like you've got to get it, and so a lot of times like wireless makes me a little bit nervous, because I'm like, if it cuts out or glitches, there's no going back. But wireless is definitely getting better, and I think a gaming headset
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah.
My surround sound speakers are wireless Bluetooth. Death Fears None said that he or she saw us back in 2017 at the Token Lounge.
The Token Lounge sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Westland
No,
does
I'm
not sound familiar,
terrible.
though.
Yeah, where is Westland?
California, Texas? Token Lounge. God, I miss playing shows.
I know.
I mean, I miss it so much. I'm seeing everybody like out there doing their thing, and I'm so proud of everybody who's out there doing it with COVID and everything. And like, I promise you guys, we are working on some new tunes. So when we're ready to go out there, we got some new tunes to play because we're just not there yet. Also, I just want to say hi to a couple people who are on here. Doolin was on a second ago, and then we got a couple people. White's Wolf's Bushcraft on White Wolf's Bushcraft is always a regular.
Yeah, how did your
Nice.
name get longer? I feel like it was just White Wolf something.
It was
last
always
time.
this. It was always White Wolf's Bushcraft and Survival Skills. So
Really?
shout out to all you guys watching on YouTube, Twitch. Again, there's like nobody watching on Facebook, so I don't really know what the deal is with Facebook. Like, I don't know if it's like actually not live or just like literally no one gives a shit about us on Facebook anymore. But whatever.
Usually that's where we get the most traffic, or at least
I think a lot of people are
siblings,
coming over
relatives.
to Twitch. I think Twitch is fun. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't want to like promise you emotes and then not deliver them. So like when an emote happens, it happens. So don't worry. Like I have the graphic design skills to make something cool. Like what do you guys want to see in an emote from us on Twitch? You know, let me know what you guys want and then I can work on it.
Yeah, I definitely like Twitch the best as far as.
Okay, so Death
kinda
Fears
stuff
None
that
said it was in Michigan. Us and Blame Shift. Was City of the Week also there? Oh, God.
I don't think they did Blame Shift with us.
Hello, Midnight Clad. Finally caught a live stream and just found out that we have a Twitch. Well, welcome. Welcome to the party. So, hey,
Yes.
Doug. Doug is
Nice.
on Facebook and is the only one watching us on Facebook.
Yeah,
Doug.
Doug.
Wait, is Doug
Wait, is the
watching
same
us
Doug?
on Facebook and
Oh.
and Twitch?
I was just going to be like, there's two Dougs. Nah.
Everybody.
Everyone's named Doug.
for the win.
Doug's. You're just upping our viewership because you're watching on 3 different devices, on 3 different websites. And that's really sad. Like,
Everyone should do that, actually.
hello, Domingo Ramirez on Facebook. What's going on?
Isn't it on Twitch? I think it's called September. So is it? Do we have to sign up for it? Or is every account it's like discounted subscriptions this month?
I have no idea, but that sounds really cool.
I was listening to another streamer, and they were saying that they were advertising September on Twitch. So I don't know if that's something they had to set up, or if it's like discounted subscriptions for every channel.
Every account is discounted. That's what Death Fears None said. And they moved over to Twitch. Hello.
Cool.
Nice. Oh,
So everybody subscribe.
Everybody subscribe.
Everybody, zippity.
It's $1 off. To my knowledge, it's like $5 a month is a subscription, and it gives you notifications. And you know, if you're a sub, you get like some fancy emotes, I think, and you'll get access to if we ever make like special ones. We try. You guys know that we try so hard, but it's a lot to keep up with.
We're really trying to focus on music. And one thing I want to do that I was just thinking about, because me and Josh are about to wrap up a couple of the demos for the new album, send them over to you for vocals. And what I was thinking for our patrons might be cool is, as we're doing these demos, I can create a SoundCloud like playlist and put them all on there as private, and give the link to the patrons so you all can start to hear these tracks as they come together and form. Like, I can send them as instrumentals once TJ throws some vocals, like re-upload with that, and so you'll kind of be able to hear the songs before the album's even recorded, but you'll get to hear kind of the bare bones.
Well, because the
Mm-hmm.
honest truth is that we don't really know when we are going to be even in the studio. So we don't want to, make promises. We've learned to not make promises and to not talk about like time frame and things like that, because things inevitably come up and get in the way. And the way things are looking now, the fact that it's already September, it's like, an album takes a long time, and we want it to be perfect. I do. I don't care how long it takes. Like, I want this to be like the best thing we've ever done. And so, y'all are putting the pressure on me getting these demos sent out, because like I need to sit down and like write some lyrics, and it's really hard sometimes.
Well, me and Josh, so if we're still in the catching up with the Nearly Dead's portion of the show,
we
over the weekend, like Josh recorded some drums, sent some stuff to me, and then I heard
my husband just walked in the door, ladies and gentlemen. Hi,
Jordan.
say hi to Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
I didn't even hear him walk in the door. Hi, babe. What do you want to show everybody the Pokemon cards you bought today?
I didn't buy them today. I bought them a while ago.
This is a daily thing. Oh, and then can you pick up Moom and have her come say hi?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
Steve,
thought they were
continue.
baseball cards.
Oh, they might be. Sometimes he buys stuff for other people. Hello.
There's another.
Everybody say hi to Moom. Oh, you can't even see her.
He's all black.
Moom.
There's her little eyes. She's a black cat, and he's wearing all black, so you can't really see her. She just kind of walks around like a drunk toddler. She's really like she's a mature cat,
That's the cool one.
I've got
but she acts like a kitten.
whining everywhere.
All right, this is the Pokemon that Jordan brought home today, one of many, because he brings Pokemon cards home every single day.
Nice, gotta catch them all.
Hey,
you know?
yeah, you gotta catch them all.
they both said because you got to catch them all.
That's the whole point.
They're unlimited Pokemon, so there's never going to be something to not buy.
She has her own
That's
collection,
awesome.
by the way, that she doesn't even talk
Oh,
about.
that's nice.
These are all Pokemon cards that he's given to me because I think they're cute.
Yeah. Honestly,
But anyway, this is not the Pokemon stream. We I mean, I don't know. People do tune in for this kind of quality content, but Steve, you were in the middle of making a point.
oh, I was just gonna say. So Josh was working on drums for one of the new songs and was doing some things, and he'll send it to me like what he's got, and I'll listen. And so me and Josh got on a Zoom. Was it yesterday or Monday? Because I had some ideas of some things I wanted Josh to do, but I felt like there's no way I can text this. And even if I call him, I'm not going to be able to be like, hey, that one part? Can you just da-digga-da-digga-da, rat-tat-tat-tat-tat? Like me trying to explain, I was like, this is going to sound stupid. Josh is going to have no clue what I'm talking about because they're very particular parts. So yeah, me and Josh got on a Zoom and started working and figuring out the parts
Yeah.
via Zoom, which was fun. But yeah, at the end of it, I told Josh, I asked which ones he had, like which ones had Javi recorded. I know I had recorded 2. I've got like 2 or 3 more to record myself. But I was like, I'm gonna make a Dropbox and I'll send them to you. But I was like, there's not really a timeline on these. There's no stress. I was like, I just want to keep things moving, keep the process going, and then hopefully like the goal is whatever November-ish or whatever, have something to send over to Brian Craddock to listen to. And it was like it might be nice for him to kind of like be able to jam it out over the holidays and come up with some ideas or whatever. But yeah, I was like, Josh, there's no timeline. I'm just wondering what you have and what you're working on. So the same for you, TJ. There's no timeline. There's no stress. It's just we'll send them to you as we finish our part of it. And then I'll also post that SoundCloud, and whenever the sparks fly and you've got stuff to send us, then I'll add that to the SoundCloud. And art can't be forced or
It can't be rushed, you
Yeah, it
guys.
has
It
to
takes
be-
The
time.
genius just
You have to
comes.
be inspired.
What
you
if
know?
like we're talking so much about like the process of writing this album. A, what if we never actually do it? And B, what if we do it and like everyone hates it? And they're
It just
like, why did this
sucks
take
so
so long? God, they talked about doing this for
Honestly-
10 years or 2 years. I mean, at least we've been talking about it for at least a year.
I'll just tell the fans right now that unless all of a sudden we hate each other and everybody quits and whatever, it's gonna happen because I just need to do this album. So even if the band can't afford it or we do the Kickstarter and nobody gives a shit and doesn't donate anything, whatever, I'll dip into my own pockets because I'm like, I'm so hyped on these
You heard it
songs.
here first,
I'm
folks.
so hyped. I'm hyped on these songs.
Hey.
They sound awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Jordan.
think
They need
we're
to be
definitely
recorded.
I think we're definitely all on the same page of like I don't know what the right word is, but like blown away when we were kind of writing them all together. So I
They
would
felt like they were coming so naturally, and I
Yeah.
and I don't want to like knock on wood. My desk is wood, but Josh, after you sent me those drums, I was listening to that track, and I'm like, this is the new My Evil Ways. Like, this is gonna be another like banger of a song that just
Which one
you know.
which one were you guys working on? That's a banger.
battle.
I just
Oh,
call it
thanks.
the battle song.
Yeah, no,
Just
I
use that in-
love that song. Like,
Yeah.
and I am having like so much trouble because like I just want it to be so epic and like it all rests on the lyrics and the subject content of the song and the story that it's going to tell. And I'm just like,
all you got to do is add it. Hey, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
A chanty,
everything
hey.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm in this creative stage where I think everything I write sucks or is like cliche or has been done. Like it's hard to write music, people. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be, it shouldn't be, but like I get into like self-destruct mode where I'm just like, that sucks, this sucks, and then after 5 minutes I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this today.
Well, and especially I can understand and with lyrics, it's. I mean, I've always been a music guy, but you've been cranking out lyrics for, however many years. I mean, you've done lyrics for, at least 50 plus songs at this point. Like, I'm working on my second solo project single with some people, and I'm writing music and lyrics for those, and writing lyrics is tough because it's like you want it to mean something but to yourself, but you want it to be relatable to other people. And then me, the type of person that I am, it's like, oh, I want it to be kind of like subtle and blah blah blah, but then as it's coming out of my mouth, it's just very basic and simple, straightforward, and I'm like, this is too simple. It's not like metaphorical enough, or the words aren't flowery enough. But then I'm just like, you know what, screw it. Like, I mean, half the songs that are blowing up out there that I'm listening to now, it's like the chorus is body yaddy and wop. It's like,
What?
it's not it's not like it's super artistic poetic lyrics. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like convince myself that it's okay to be simpler in the way that I write. But it's easy. I think it's easier to get self-critical with lyrics. So I don't envy you that is your role in the Nearly Deads. And
You
Yeah,
certainly don't
that's-
give me any credit for it. No.
what?
Just
Yeah, we're
teasing.
always like,
He's
right
like,
then.
what?
Yeah.
Be better. That's what you guys.
Jesus.
We're all very
You know what?
Yeah,
Thank you to
behind
the
the scenes,
fans.
we're always.
I would
telling
like to
DJ,
thank
we're
the
like, "Be
fans.
better."
I would like to thank the fans for being the only people to ever tell me, no, I don't know, that our songs are meaningful to them. But it's totally different perspective when you're the person like making it, whatever. I definitely am so proud of our music though. Like when I sit and like listen to our old songs, I'm like, man, it's so good. Somebody earlier in the stream was like, y'all are so underrated. I was like, yeah. So I just want to like Ask Doolin and Doug, they're talking about like channel points. I'm assuming these are like Twitch channel points. Like, educate us. Like, how can we make these better? Because they say they have like thousands of useless points. And I'm like, I want to know why. Like, are those like you cash in for like emotes or like highlight? Like he said, a highlighted post, but there's not really like, it's not like we're a channel that has like thousands of people watching it to like bump up your comment. So I feel like that might be what you guys get. So just like educate us a little bit, because we definitely don't want you to be not getting your value worth out of your subscription. So we're just happy you guys are here. We just like doing this. Like, we just think it's fun. We're going to talk more about like movies in a minute. We're still catching up and we're like 40 minutes in.
No, it's fine. This has been good. And what we need to do is just tap into the nerds that watch us. And yes, I called you all nerds, and you are nerds. We're nerds too, and it's fine. Like, we're all nerds together. You know, if you are one, you can say it. So,
I'm not a nerd.
You're a nerd, Josh. But what we need to do is like some of the podcasters that I listen to or streamers, like they've met people who like pseudo work for them, or they contract hire out through their channel being fans. Like somebody who watched them like start as now creating audio tags for them, or somebody that used to watch them that's a fan is now doing graphics for them. So it's like all of you watching and listening to us, tell us if you're like really good at Twitch and like really good at promotion.
Well, like
and
Alex helped me a lot, because he did like help me start the Discord stuff. And like we learned that, and like Discord is really fun. Like I like that I get notifications like when people post on it, because you don't really like I don't really get notifications. Like it's hard to manage all the social accounts that we have to manage, like Facebook, Instagram. Like we get messages constantly, we get emails from like people. Like you have to like sift through a lot. So a Discord, I feel like, is like definitely the place that you want to be. And Twitch and these streams, it's like if you guys want like to talk to us like directly, like that's where you can do it. Like I'm definitely like if you're on Discord, it's like you're basically texting us, and I'll text you right back, like if I'm in a mood that day.
Right.
But it's
like, so we just need to contract out the fans and just be like, hey, start running our Twitch channel, and like, you know, help us with graphics, help boosting or promoting it, you know, and we'll pay you in crumble cookie like once a week. We'll Uber Eats you something. Or Josh will fly Josh out.
Yeah, I'll personally come visit.
He'll move
every
in
one
with
of you.
Yeah.
Josh,
you know, drummers are always looking for a couch to crash on.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
That's
he
true.
comes with fun dip. Oh, so before we go into the main topic, one last from me, at least, if we're doing the catch up on what we're doing, because TJ geeked out on Lord of the Rings last week.
Oh, I just finished watching Lord of the Rings. We just finished the last movie last night because we were watching the extended versions, and we go to turn it on and we're like, we still have 3.5 hours left of this movie, and we had already watched an hour and a half of it. It was 4.5 hours long. So, I mean, we buckled in last night and watched the whole thing, and it's so epic and so good.
So, real quick then, before I make my point, what would your rankings be as far as like, how would you rank the movies? What was the best, and like going down, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite? That's like not
like
even
if you
a
had
thing.
to kind of order them a little bit, you know?
Well, to be honest with you, I had this conversation with Jordan, and I don't think I had it on the stream. I think for me, watching them all 6 movies, we started with the Hobbit series. I thought all 3 of the Hobbit movies were better. Not only were they made after Lord of the Rings, so I feel like maybe technology-wise there's like differences in the quality of the CG and shit like that, but also it's like one journey, 3 movies. With the Lord of the Rings, it's like 20 journeys, 20 wars, like all kinds of different people, and like 3 movies. Like it was honestly like a lot. And I think the first one is probably my favorite of the Lord of the Rings trilogies, the Fellowship.
Yeah.
And we're just getting to the journey. It doesn't even like start. Actually, no, I'm wrong. It does start in that first movie, but we just start watching it after that point because it was 2 hours in. But okay, so let me put this all in perspective for you guys. Because we went right after the new Matrix is coming out. We talked about this last week. For those of you who checked us out last week, we talked all about this new Matrix and we had this whole Matrix discussion. I hadn't watched the Matrix in probably 10, 15, whatever, probably since they fucking came out, right? And Jordan's never seen them. Comparatively, it's not even in the same universe. Like, it's not even on the same level at all. Like, you watch, like, because we had just gone from watching this, like, deep character development to just, like, Neo's being chased by people, like, in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And you have no idea who he is or why he's the one, what makes him so special, all this shit, right? And I was just like, wow, I never realized that the first time I watched the movie. It's just like, bing, bang, boom, boom, boom. And now they're in love. When did they fall in love? Why is she in love with him? Right? They've known each other for 2 days.
It's once that she finds out that he's the one, because she had been told. You find that's the thing. Well, it's a different type of storytelling. The Matrix, it throws you in, and then it explains the setup as the movie goes. It like goes back, and not really flashbacks, but it explains earlier parts of the history as you move forward
in the trilogy, right?
Yeah, or even in the first film, like the first film alone, you find out later that she had gone to the Oracle, and the Oracle told her she would fall in love with the person who is the one. And that was before they even taken Neo in.
But
so I think that's kind of part of it, is once they start seeing him, you know, be reactive and figure out, you know, his powers and stuff, and they're alluding to.
But that's
Morpheus,
also,
so.
I don't want to cut you off. That's also after they unplug him and bring him into their world. Before that, we're all just assuming, right, that they're watching him in the Matrix. How are they watching him within the Matrix? How do they know that he is, you know what I mean? Like, they give kind of a little snippet of him selling some software. You know, he's a hacker, but then the whole white rat is like, who are those people? Like, you don't really.
The code. They watch the code. The one dude, he sits there and he.
So what does he do? What does Neo do that's so special that stands out in that code? They don't really go into that, really. It's really like 5 minutes into the movie, they're chasing him around the city. Like, that to me, because I'm like, I had just watched Lord. It's like being on the freaking, you know, being on some backcountry road going 20 miles an hour and just like really enjoying the scenery, and then bam, now you're on the highway. Like, it was everything's just like boom, 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 and I was like,
okay, well, real quick.
So it was. Don't watch the Matrix right after. No, he liked it.
But he had never seen the Matrix.
That's wild.
No, I guess.
Never.
And like knowing that he was also like a high school goth like myself, like I was like, how?
Yeah.
He starts to become aware of the Matrix. He is 4 years younger than me. So, you know, in 1999 when the Matrix came out, I mean, I think he was just too young for it to even be like on his radar, honestly.
Yeah, but it didn't like really blow up and become a cult until like later.
I know, 1999. It was like, well,
like I saw it.
I don't think
it bombed in the box office.
I know. I saw in theaters like when I was still in high school, like the second one. Mm-hmm. So like a couple years before that was the first one. So I mean, and then it was like a huge blockbuster. It was kind of like a slow burn. Mm-hmm. Natty just says, "Do all goths watch The Matrix?" Yes.
Absolutely.
They also all watch Donnie Darko
and Hackers.
Yeah.
And Hackers.
Dude, Donnie Darko.
Donnie
we could have a
Darko.
whole stream.
Requiem for a Dream.
We could have a whole stream. Oh, that's what we should do on the next stream. Is we should talk about our favorite like gothy.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Like, yeah, exactly. Goth movies.
Okay, so now that we break from that, since you told your obsession last week, or what you guys were, I was going to talk about what I'm obsessed with right now, and it's a game, and it's on Game Pass for those of you who have a PC or Xbox game. But I believe it's, even though Microsoft owns the company now, I think it is also on PlayStation. So, TJ, you guys can still get it. But it's called Psychonauts 2, and it's been the long-awaited sequel, like the original came out on the original Xbox, and this one has been like crowd funded, and they've been working on it a really long time. But it's written and directed by Tim Schafer, who he's well known for just kind of his zany story narrative games. Like he did a lot of LucasArts games on the PC, like way back in the day. Um, and so I've been playing Psychonauts 2, and when I first started playing it, I was just like, I don't know if I'm feeling it, and I like put some more time into it, and it is just so much fun. It's basically like, I don't know if did you guys ever play Rare games like Banjo Kazooie or um,
I was terrible at that game.
it kind of reminds me of that era
Like
where it's
Spyro, kind of.
yeah, Spyro, or it like those games that are kind of platformy, or like the original Mario
Hmm.
64 where it's like big open areas, it's platformy, you're trying to collect stuff.
Hmm.
um it's like, yeah, there's one of those games where the world's interesting and opening, and you got to climb and traverse all these things. There's like a main story and there's side missions, but there's all these collectibles. It's definitely a collectathon game where it's like I want to get all the hidden memories. I want to find all the baggage and this and that.
Hmm.
So it's that fun kind of nostalgic platform adventure game, but the artwork is very Tim Burton esque. Like the character designs and like uh, the scenery reminds me a lot of Tim Burton, which TJ I think you would dig. But the game, it's based kind of off of mental health and like psychology and things, and the Psychonauts are people that go into people's minds and help them sort through their mental and emotional issues, and they're like detectives, and so it's kind of a cool story. But um, the artwork's fantastic. The gameplay is super fun, but it's also super funny. Like he's got a great sense of humor and is very clever. Like
Hmm.
so everything they do or they talk about, it's the way it's worded or the things they call, it's all kind of centered around psychology and mental health. So like some of the collectibles, you'll find these random suitcases or things around the map, and they're crying, and they're called, oh, I think I hear some emotional baggage. And so you got to go find like the airplane tag that goes with the bag, or to like level up. You'll see these half brains around, and he's like, "Oh, I found half. I now have half a mind," or something like. Just the verbiage they use, it's all play off of it.
Hmm.
And then the worlds are so um, crazy. Like the first one, when you go into this guy who's mentally unstable, you go into his mind or whatever, but he sucks you in through his mouth, and so like the whole world is like everything's like teeth and gums, and like you're traveling inside his body, or like there was this one weird one where the guy's a barber, and when I go into his mind, because it's everything that people are seeing, um, the world, it's like you're traversing, it's all this hair everywhere, and there's like combs going through the hair, and like some of the enemies are, you'll see lice everywhere, and you have to
Uh,
like destroy the lice. I don't know, it's very visual representing of like what they do or think. And the one I'm in now, it's oh, the voices, like the one I'm in now, the character I'm in, Elijah Wood voices the character.
Hey.
hey,
Yeah,
full
yeah, and
circle.
yeah, exactly. And so he's hilarious, and he was this um the scientist like takes brains after people die, and he's experimenting on like keeping the brains alive or whatever, and it's the Elijah Wood character was just one of the brains that hadn't been registered yet that you need for something. And so he's like, you put his brain into this other guy's body who's brainless, and so he's rediscovering his sentences, and he's going crazy because it's like sensory overload, because he's just been a basically comatose brain for so long. And so the visual representation of it is super psychedelic, and you're on like this stage, and there's this huge crowd, and it's like a band, and you have to find all the different band members to kind of rein in his senses and get control of his mind. And it's yeah, it's just
Sounds
super
cool.
crazy, super
Yeah.
creative. There's a few other notable voice talents in it, and yeah,
That's awesome.
I recommend playing it, especially if you have Game Pass. It's free. So, the end.
Cool.
Sweet. Steve's always out there with a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I'm a millennial that is like I play everything but don't finish almost everything because I'm overly stimulated.
Oh,
I
that's
always got to
terrible.
be in the zeitgeist playing the newest thing.
I only play like one game a year because I'm such a completionist. I really am. It's terrible. I want to do everything the game has to offer, but
it just depends. I mean, I feel like I'm very like you. Like when I'm in a game, that's all I'm playing. Like I'm not here to test out little, once I get into a world, then I'm just in it. Like I still
yeah.
play Animal Crossing. I just don't play as much. And when I play, I get pretty bored pretty quick. Like I've done pretty much all there is to do. Like my island looks sick. I don't want to destroy it.
Mm.
But I don't really want to start over. Like we just kind of like we all sit around and wait for like the next update because every season there's going to be like some cute little item that you like need to log in and go get. But like honestly, like it's just after playing it pretty much nonstop for a year, I'm just kind of like, all right, it's time for something new. Like it's always
Yeah.
fun to restart a game, but like Animal Crossing, you can't really restart because you lose a lot of like money and like I have like 4 million bells in the bank. Like I have nothing to do with that unless I, started buying online like with strangers. Which you can do. Like people literally will take like your game money to be like you will go to their island and like drop off your fake money and then they'll drop off an item for you or whatever, or like tickets to go get dream characters and stuff like that. So it's like the trade is weird. Like I feel weird about going to other people's islands and like letting them come to mine. Like I don't really let anybody on my island that I don't know, but there's this whole community of people who like do that, and that's how they get so ahead in the game so quickly, and so many
Right.
multiples of items and so many items in every color. Because like in my game, like I would love to have white lampposts, but I have green ones and I have a green phone booth. I don't have the white phone booth. Like I will never have those items because every island gets different colors for shit. You have to like trade with other people. Like every island has its own fruit. If you don't find an island with oranges, pears, or whatever, you will never have that fruit. And you get like points, or you get like, you get points for like having all the fruits, and you get points for like growing different trees and like all this shit. So they really encourage you to like go to other people's islands.
Yeah, I can see how that people get addicted to that stuff, but that's the exact reason I don't play games as service games typically. Like, I played Animal Crossing for a little bit, but like Fortnite and Destiny and all these things that they're constantly updating and adding things. It's just, to me, I just don't have enough time or don't want to invest myself into just one game, because it's like if you don't keep up with all these updates and play the new raids and get the new gear, you're going to fall behind, you're going to be lost, and you're not going to be good. And so I tend to prefer games that it's just like there's a story, there's the start, there's the end, you play it, you finish, you're done with it. That or
I feel like,
fun,
well, you play a lot of the free games, because I definitely feel like if I were like Jordan, like finishes games in like a couple of days. And I'm always like, that's not worth my money. You paid $60 for this Resident Evil game, and then you played it for 4 days and beat it. But I think for some people that is fine. Like that's what they want. They want to like finish the game. You can still play after you finish it.
Like that's the type of game that I like to play. I'm very much like a story driven, like a AAA title story driven game, but I want to complete like the shit out of that game. So like I've been playing Resident Evil 2 for 2 years because there's just all the side and extra shit. Like a lot of that though is like beating it on difficulties, which I'm terrible at. Like one game that comes to mind is like God of War. It's such a good game, but I could never 100% it because you have to fight Valkyries, I think they're called. I don't know if you, Steve, if you've played it, but you have to like fight, and they're the hard. I just can't beat them. I can't.
In
do
God
it.
of War.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're so hard.
they're so
I was
difficult.
like, I'm not gonna complete these. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care.
so I can't like 100% that game because I cannot beat those things. But
Right.
everything else, like I find all the hidden, like all the other stuff, you know.
Those type of games are fun, like God of War, Tomb Raider. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like The Last of Us. There's like the story driven, but I call them like open linear. It's like linear, but there's like open areas and you can go and explore. No, I'm right there with you, Josh and TJ. I still buy those games too. It's just the good thing about Game Pass is it's not like it's all just like shovelware, free, just cheap stuff. It's anything that Microsoft owns. So even like big titles like Halo and Gears of War and Forza and like all these bigger titles, like the new Skyrim is going to be on Game Pass. Like the new Bethesda Starfield is on Game Pass.
Wow.
So those type games like are going to be free on Game Pass. It's just Netflix for games. Netflix gets bigger titles as well. So
That's true.
Josh has a secret admirer.
yeah, I saw that.
Did
in
you?
the chat.
I just put them on timeout because they might just move on, but we can ban them if we want.
What?
I didn't know if it was somebody we knew that was just joking. But...
I don't know. I put them on a timeout, but I might have to ban them. Y'all don't make this easy. No, I'm not.
Right.
No, our fans are great. Our fans are great. Hey, at least somebody else is getting the lewd comment and not the lead singer. That's great.
Right.
Yay!
Uh-oh.
On that note, before we jump into the topic, do we want to do some quick housekeeping? This is where I
Yes.
to the ad.
Yes.
And I actually have the photos to show off. If TJ, if you
Oh,
want to
sweet.
go ahead and talk
So
about...
you're giving those away this month, right?
Well, yeah, they're last month's prize, but shipping took like 2 weeks. It's crazy. So I just got them in the mail today.
For
so I'll be shipping
photos?
them
Why don't you just go to Walgreens?
out. Well, it was the shipping that took long, not the printing. Daniel wanted me to use that site that he sent him to get the prints because he gets like 1% of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just did that.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yes, definitely support whatever the photographer suggests because we want to make sure that he gets paid for his hard work, for sure. Yeah, he's probably really mad that I print mine at Walgreens.
No, he doesn't care.
For my
he
patrons.
just started using this thing. But yeah, here they are, the
Yay!
prints with our signatures. Try
Nice.
not to have the light on there.
Hey,
Look at that.
Javi
But yeah, we got a
in the
bunch
house.
of these.
I wonder if he's
got-
trying to get on Zoom. No,
But yeah,
he's not.
we're all here.
The gang's all there.
And the
You
gang's all
digitally
there.
signed prints.
Nice.
So thank you so much to everybody of you guys who supports us on our Patreon. The link is on the video stream, of course. Most of you guys watching are members of the Patreon, so we would just love to thank you for helping to support us, support the stream, support our music. Everything that we do is 100% fan funded. We would literally not exist without you guys, all the way back to our YouTube days. And, you know, we're streaming live on YouTube now, which is pretty cool. We've got a ton of subscribers, and that would not be without, you know, our fan support. So we love you guys, and you get cool stuff if you are a member of one of our producer tiers. And this last month, I suppose, was anybody who was a member of that tier gets a signed photo with all of us, and it's a really fun kind of outtakey photo from our photo shoot we just did. So we like to give you guys little things and give back to you guys for supporting us on Patreon. And do you have the list of like people? So, because you also get a shout out in every video.
Yeah, I'll pull that up while you keep telling people about stuff.
All right. So yeah, Patreon donations start at like $2, $1.
$1.
It's just $1 a month, and it really means the world to us. It helps us keep creating music and artwork and do all the things that we said. But whatever, if we don't make any money, Steve apparently is just gonna pay.
This
for everything.
record has to come out. Like it's gonna be so.
This
good.
is
These
a
songs
labor
are so
of
good.
love.
Yeah.
It's either gonna It's our sophomore album. You guys are helping us. You know how they always do like the sophomore slump? It's either going to suck or it's going to like make us famous. Like this is like, we are literally like on the crossroads. And to be honest with you guys, that's what a lot of my lyrics are leaning towards. It's about being at that point in life where you're like, shit or get off the pot, either make another record or like hang it the fuck up. You know what I mean? Because we've been in band for 10 years and we're going to celebrate that. Like, it's very cool that we've been in band this long and that there's still people out there who care. But it's been so long since our first full-length record. Like, we've never, you know, we all live in different states. We do all this stuff back and forth. So because of the Patreon, we're able to continue doing all of this. And so thank you guys all so much for your support, your continued support. And we promise you guys, you know, that's where the party is. That's where you get all the cool perks and the behind the scenes stuff. Like, we love doing these live streams and we're very authentic and we try to be very real and authentic. And, you know, we feel like that's our way of like respecting you guys as fans, like letting you in. Why wouldn't we do stuff like this? But you get even more in-depth behind the scenes stuff when you're a Patreon member. Because I struggle to say the word patron.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, and I saw a comment earlier, you know, asking why we do this, and it for us it's not about like who's watching, how many people, or that doesn't really matter. I mean, mostly we do this because we live in different states, and this is a fun way for us to catch up with each other every week and nerd out and hang out. Yeah. But we're like, if we're gonna do this, we might as well do it and allow our fans, the people who care and support us, you know, be in on it and be able to chat with us and be a part of the topics and the discussions.
Yeah, because we get people from you know, all over the world too, which I think is great. And a lot of you guys kind of connect in the comments section yourselves. We've got people from Wales, we've got Michigan, you know, we've got all over the place.
And it's almost, honestly, I feel like it's, as it grows and gets bigger, it's always going to be fun. But it's like these moments when we just started this streaming and the podcast, it's almost more fun right now because it's like the chat is manageable. We're able to actually have conversations and answer all of you. It's like, you know, a lot of these streamers and people that I see now that have massive followings, there's so many comments going on. You know, they probably only see a tenth of like what actually people are commenting. So right now for us, we can actually see what you're saying and talk to you and respond, and so it's a little bit more intimate.
You guys are like, I don't know, what I hope is like there's not a lot of people watching like yet, right? Like eventually like there'll be hopefully like a lot more people watching, and then like you guys will be like, I was there from day one. You know, because
we literally just started doing this.
Yeah, and inevitably when you release an album, and especially when we're touring, that's when like you get like kind of your buzz going again as a band. But like because of COVID, and we haven't really like we haven't even released the Freak Show video. That's our next plan of release. And you know, that's the latest thing we've been working on. It's just like incredibly difficult with all the bands and music and stuff out there vying for your time. The fact that anybody here is like spending your time with us, that means so much to us. So I can't thank you guys enough. Like there's just so much out there.
And it's cool to see people who feel the same way about us doing this, you know, like I believe it was Craig, if it was not, he's JT Rocker on Twitch, but he on Patreon, he messaged me because he wanted to buy some CDs, and I sent him some CDs. But he said that he was like, you guys are now my number one favorite band because of the discussion we had on the stream last week, and you responding to my questions and being able to interact with you. He said it was something he doesn't get to do with the other bands that he enjoys listening to. And so we're glad to hear the fans. And the photos we just gave out are producers this month. Hey, Javi.
Javi's in the mix.
Oh my god, I'm getting out of here.
I made it, bitches.
Oh god, right when we're about to shout out all the important people too, you know?
It was all going so well.
It was going so well.
I could have just not let him in the meeting, you guys know.
Oh yeah, you did have to allow him in.
Also, shout out to Alex. an hour late to the stream. In all honesty, we started an hour early, so we love that you're here. But
Yeah.
I know our timeline kind of jumps around.
we
depending
just
on the
do what we
schedule.
want, man. And everyone is like, have a set schedule. Like, that's how you get more followers. And we're just like, we got lives, man. Sorry. Like,
Well, I think we are fairly
maybe
consistent.
we're 5, maybe we're 6, maybe we're doing on Thursday, maybe we don't do it that week. Like, it's either
think-
Wednesday or Thursday, either 5 or 6.
We had been pretty
Central.
much sticking to Wednesday. Last week was just a scheduling thing with personal lives, and then I think from now on, moving forward with Javi's new job and stuff, we'll probably stick to the 6 Eastern start time, just so that we all 4 can be here for the whole thing, and it should work out. But anyways,
But we have an
actually
interview, and we have an
newer,
interview later tonight, and that's why we bumped it up. So cool stuff is
Yes.
happening, you guys.
so I can eat before it and not be angry.
Dang.
We have a new producer, Gil Mello. So thank you, Gil, for
Hey,
joining
Gil.
us and being in there. And then the tried and trues that have been here since we re-kicked off this Patreon: Paul, Craig, Derper, Doug, Ninja, Jesse, Oliver, Yaroslav, Craig, John, K and C, Patty, Bobby, and Bill Ford, because you got to say his whole name. So thank you
Nice.
all for being patrons, and you all should be getting those signed photos in the mail. Hopefully next week, depending on where you are. If you're overseas, probably next year.
So I was at the post office
Jeez.
yesterday mailing stuff for my patrons, and I asked my guy to check on Australia, and apparently they're still not accepting priority shipments from like anywhere. It's like a COVID thing. They don't have enough shipping, you know, for like stuff to get to certain countries from America, especially. It has to go on like a plane, and then there's only so many places for them to land, and there's a lot of posts. So that's just what it is right now.
I bought a book from Germany, and it was last year, and I'm
It's still
still
not
like
there.
waiting on it.
Wow.
I
I'm
bought
like, son of a bitch.
I bought a
My mom-
record.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I bought a record from one of my favorite bands, and it took almost a year for them to even make it, because they were like, oh yeah, production, because of COVID, like it completely shut down the like plant that they were making them. Like,
Certain
Yeah.
countries, though, even before COVID, like my brother lives in South Africa, and even before COVID, just to ship out there, like my mom ships their Christmas card in like October, so that it will like get to them
that's cute.
by Christmas, you know, because it's tough sometimes, but we make it work. But thank you all, producers. We'll get those out to you.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, what we're going to try to do is, you all know we're working on the new album. I'm going to try to create a SoundCloud playlist and upload these demos as we put them together, so that you all can be a part of the creative process. And so all the $3 tier and up patrons will have a link to that you can just check in at your leisure, and there might be a new song in there or
Hi.
not,
Don't be late.
but it's there for you.
It's usually date night.
The
Love
end.
you. All right. I wanted to show you guys. So Jordan has band practice tonight, and he just said it's date night too, because he goes out with his band after band practice.
Just Noah.
Just Noah, just his drummer.
Are they going to Steak and Shake?
No, they don't have steak and shakes out here. They go to
What?
they go to Fridays.
Oh,
Nice.
They go to TGI Fridays. It is like the quintessential band place, like Applebee's, Fridays. Like, where else are you going after band practice?
App off app.
Exactly.
There's nothing else open. I also wanted to show these. I totally forgot Jordan had brought these in. So remember how we were talking about like a Kickstarter and stuff? So I already have started working on paintings for the Kickstarter. So just to give you guys a little bit of a taste of some stuff that you can kind of like get if you contribute to the Kickstarter, I'm going to show you guys my latest.
Ooh. Drum roll, Josh.
My latest creation.
Cute.
Oh,
Nice.
that's really cool.
It's me.
Like the
awesome.
lashes.
Hmm.
Boop.
Look anime.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
It's me how
I
I
like it.
want to look. I have a couple of those I made, and then this one I made a long time ago. So this is another painting that I made, and These will be like, I'm kind of saving these because I want them to be Kickstarter prizes. So I'm hoping that there's people out there who maybe want some of my art hanging on their wall. So I just wanted to show those and like show you guys what I've been working on. I really love to paint, and this gives me like a good reason to do so. Like if I, you know, hopefully we can get some dollars for those on our Kickstarter. Oh, I am in the server. Yes, I'm in the Discord. I'm waiting for people to talk to me on the actual channel, I guess. But I might not be doing it right. I have to wait for people to be on the Discord, and then I drag them into the voice channel, and then we can like talk to each other. Like you can actually talk to me in real life, IRL. So am I not doing this right? I don't see that there's other people on here. So Alex will let me know. I know. So, all right, we can move the conversation along.
What you drinking there, Josh?
Should we jump into the main topic?
Nothing. Blue moon.
We got about 40 minutes left.
Oh, also we have somebody new on YouTube. I'm gonna say it's Juan Crema, and their favorite Nearly Dead song is "Never Look Back." And Natty says, "Cool, mine is My Evil Ways."
Nice.
Diversity.
Can I just point out something? Does everybody have a podcast mic except for me?
Yeah, dude, you need one.
Yeah.
Does mine sound like crap?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's through a phone.
It sounds like a telephone.
It sounds like but you know, so many people like do the Zoom thing these days that like I feel like you turn on Fox News or whatever and somebody's talking like that. Like it's not a big deal. Even NPR.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much the guy that's you guys are interviewing.
Yeah. So Javi.
Yeah.
I have a microphone that plugs into my phone. I wonder if that will work for next time.
Dude, you can get they sell USB podcasting mics you can get for like $20 or $30. I have one I can give you. Next time I see you.
So quiet.
It has a little stand. But then as far as camera too, I've got all the camera that plugs in USB. I got it on Amazon for like $20. And it's got a ring
so cool.
light
You were
and
able to
everything.
join. That's cool.
So you can be all set up and you just plug it all in.
All you have to do is click on general. So it's not like I'm
Yeah,
not on
let
a
me get this
private channel.
podcasting thing going.
Nice.
Alex, jump in. All right, you guys, if you're on the Discord and you're in the general like chat channel, I'll be able to talk to you. We got Doolin in here. Alex said he's thinking about joining. But it's the Nearly Dead's chat on Discord. I posted the link in Twitch up there a while ago, so you guys have to kind of like find the link and go on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty well versed on Discord from playing chess. I've learned to navigate it.
That's awesome. Oh, I can imagine there's a lot of chess players on Twitch or on Discord. Like,
I've noticed that's a thing recently. A lot of people doing board games online.
oh,
I love
okay.
chess. Chess is cool.
Yeah.
Javi's a fan of chess.
I'm always like, oh yeah, I love chess, and I go up against some guy and he kicks my ass, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, all right, I was a little cocky.
I don't think I even remember how to play. I remember how the knight
chess.
moves and the queen, but everything and the pawn. I remember how the pawn moves, but that's about it. Which is, I don't know, more than a quarter of the pieces.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But like I know how they all move, I think, but not like some of them can only go a certain like number of spaces. Like the pawn you can move 2 times on your first move, but not after that. You can only move 1. You can't move like diagonal or like whatever. There's so many rules. It's a cool game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it because it's kind of that like, you know, King Arthur and the knights and stuff and castles, and it goes pretty much along with like Lord of the Rings and shit. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
it's like
Harry
I've
Potter.
always like, if I were gonna get a chessboard again, I think I have just a basic chessboard, but I've always wanted to get one of those like super expensive, like big with like all the pewter, like Lord of the Rings figures or something, or like Gandalf.
One of
the
those
king,
Sky Mall
you know,
numbers.
like it's like yeah, exactly. You see them online, and it's like $1,000 for the chessboard because it's like a marble, uh, like board, and then yeah, all the figures are made out of pewter and they're intricate, detailed. Like one is all the like orcs and the Nazgul and stuff, and the other side is all the like elves and dwarves and Gandalf and all that.
So Doolin, what was that? You saw a chess set for how much?
$250,000 on eBay.
$250,000. What was it? Was it made of
Wow.
like bones?
I think it had some gold in it.
Gold. Oh, or maybe like diamonds. Oh yeah,
Damn.
Nice.
that's cool. All right, so the topic for today was books that got turned into movies, and which is better, the book or the movie,
Oof.
or is this even a fair comparison?
The Bible.
Has it been made into a movie? Just
There's,
part.
I feel like
Part.
there's been, yeah.
There's
Many
like
movies.
there's no Book of Life.
Dude, the Ten Commandments, that epic movie with like Charlton Heston or whoever's in it, like that airs every Easter, that was like a staple in my family. That's based on the Bible.
What about
Nice.
the Monty Python with the life of
Monty
Brian?
Python? You're right, though.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good thing to hash out first. I mean, I think it's a fair, but because I think we can talk about ones that did it right, maybe, but I think it's a hard comparison because this is what I like to say to people. Because when people do the comparison, a lot of times everybody is like, "Oh, God, the movie sucked. You know, it changed this, this, and this, and blah blah blah." And for me, it's like you have to give the movie some leeway because you're trying to take a story that was like sometimes 500 to 1,000 pages and condense it down into like 2 hours. You know, that's like a book that like content wise, like some of these, like the movie or the book like if you listen to the audio book, that's like 40 hours of
Oh, yeah.
content. But
I
then the
listened to the
movie
whole thing.
is 2 hours. So you have to give them some kind of creative leeway because it's like, how do you take all that content and narrow it down and reduce it to like just the main points, the things. And so it's really hard. And because of that, I don't think it's ever going to live up to anybody's expectations because you spend so much time in the book. You create your own vision of what these characters look like, the landscapes look like. You know, there's all these expectations going into it. But that being said,
Like great expectations, Steve?
yes, like great expectations. If you read the book,
Also,
you probably have great expectations for the film.
Yeah.
So you have to give the directors and the film companies some slack. But I feel like at the same time, though, they need to be
Ooh.
reverent to the source material. And when they
I think you're right
fail,
about
it's
Stephen
when they're
King.
like changing major plot points, or you know, changing when this character is actually like a obnoxious or like whatever character, and they change the whole personality of the character, or they change the overarching narrative. And you know, if they're like manipulating the core of what that book was, then to me that you're doing a bad job of adapting. It's okay to like change some dialogue, change some pacing, decide like what's relevant or not to compress it. But you know, like in a song, like if you have this big epic and you're trying to, if you change everything or doing a cover, it's almost like doing a cover. It's like you can make it different if you're still taking the heart of what that original song was and making it your own. But if you were to take that and just completely take one little line like da 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 da, you know, and then no, I'm going on a tangent.
Uh-oh.
So the world-renowned historian on YouTube says, I thoroughly disagree with this point. Different mediums, I don't care even a little bit about changing source material. like they have some sort of artistic license. I'm gonna throw a comparison at you guys.
Well, what does he mean, like changing source material? Because I feel like if you're gonna change the core of what that thing is that you're adapting, then call it something different. It's not it. Like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna make the Lord of the Rings into a movie, but then you just make a movie about elves and dwarves battling orcs, and there's no journey, there's no bringing the ring somewhere, there's no character development with Frodo.
I don't know if that's the
if there's
point.
none of that, then it's not Lord of the Rings. It's just a fantasy film. So you can't call it an adaptation. That's what I'm saying. If you change the source
you have to
material,
you have to have the basic story, like, but you can be creative on how you tell that story.
how
Like
you
it could
represent
be
that story, right?
it could be like comedy or something. Lord of the Rings, where Frodo and Sam are in love or something. Or I don't know if that'd be comedy or drama, or I don't know. But you know, see what I mean? Or you could
Lord
turn
of the
it into
Rings,
like a
the
horror.
Brokeback Mountain edition.
Yeah,
or
Brokeback
the soap opera edition.
Mordor.
No, for sure. Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out what the world renowned means when he says changing source material. Like, what does he mean?
Oh, they made Hamlet with animals and made the Lion King. It's fine. Get weird with it.
Yeah, people want to see and hear different things.
Right, but see, that's still like, but they called it something else.
They didn't call it
Lion
Hamlet
King.
with lions. They called it the Lion King. And I would never
Right,
have
or
known that
like-
it was Hamlet. Like, you know
like
what I mean?
Avatar is Pocahontas
Well,
and Fern Gully, but they
I mean,
they didn't call it that. They didn't say it was an adaptation of
have you
Pocahontas.
guys seen like the thing with Lion King and Kimba?
Oh yeah,
Kimba the white
yeah.
lion, like that is a straight
It's-
like rip
it-
off.
It was
is-
Kimba first, and
Yeah.
then Lion King and Disney just was like, "Yeah, we'll take that."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is totally different. This isn't like it wasn't like they were adapting Hamlet. They were taking inspiration from Hamlet and making their own thing. You know, like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is it's basically, it took inspiration from what was that Greek story?
The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. It was basically the Odyssey, but in the setting of like America during Civil War, that era, you know. So, but they're not calling it an adaptation. They're not saying, "Hey, I'm making the Odyssey." They're just taking inspiration, like Star Wars took inspiration from, you know, different romance and
Was Star Wars
medieval
a
stuff.
book before? It was.
No, I mean, it's a screenplay. No, it was never a book before, but it took inspiration. So that, I mean, what the world is talking about, that's taking inspiration from something. We're talking about this discussion is like, we're doing a movie version of a book. Like, it's not a reimagining, it's not taking inspiration from, it's an adaptation where it's like
Steve's getting into like details here.
We're taking what you read and we're putting it on the screen.
So did anybody read Jurassic Park, the book?
No, I never have.
No, and that's an adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
It literally took the book and made it a movie.
Right.
I've actually seen quite a few movies made from books. That movie Wild by the book by Cheryl Strayed. I actually read that book before I watched the movie on purpose because I don't know. Like, I'm just curious to see, do we like to read the book first or after? So I watched Fight Club. I knew it was a book, but I watched it first and then read the book. And now Chuck Palahniuk is my favorite author. Like, the movie and the book are very, very similar, and he had a lot of hand in writing the screenplay. So that I think helps. But then he also made another, like, he's only done one other movie from one of his novels, and it was Choke, and it wasn't good. It wasn't successful. It's kind of like a more critically acclaimed like indie film, but it's nothing like the book. And I didn't honestly like it because I'm like, you're not even, the relationship between the characters changes. So those are kind of my 3 examples of like, you know, books. I've read the entire book and then I watched the movie. Now, Wild was great. There was basically, it was an autobiography. So there's really nothing to change. But you got to think it takes you like hours and hours and hours to read a book, and you only have, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours to make a movie. So I think most people's argument for the is like the book's always going to be more detailed. I think the exceptions to that are like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, where they're just like, nah, we're just putting everything in.
Yeah.
Right. More detailed, or a lot of people say the book is always going to be better, but I don't think that's necessarily true.
Well, they left out a lot of stuff in the Lord of the Rings too.
Sybil.
And there's details
an
of
old
Harry
movie?
Potter in the books that just aren't in the movies. There's like Easter eggs, but like the books, for example, go into a lot more detail of like Harry's parents, where
Yeah.
they talk about things. And like
I've
I said,
heard of
there's
it. I've
Easter
never
eggs
seen
in
it.
the movies of
But,
certain things that were in the book, but it doesn't take away from the story at all. Like the movie adaptations are fantastic. And the score.
Well, like Lord of the Rings, they left out a character, Tom Bombadil. He's not in the cartoon and he's not in the live action movie. So it's like they kind of just, I mean, but
again,
his character wasn't like crucial to the story. So that's probably why they left him out. But like, yeah.
That was editing to, again, that's condensing. That's taking all that and condensing it 3 hours. And in condensing, it's like picking out like what's the most critical plot points, who are the most critical characters, you know, what has to be in this film, like to make it make sense, and leave out, you know, all the extra and just get to the meat of it. World Renowned says, take The Mandalorian, probably my favorite Star Wars property by far. It's just a spaghetti western reskinned as a Star Wars story. Is it an adaptation or inspiration? I would argue that I wouldn't say it's a spaghetti western skinned as Star Wars. I would say it's a Star Wars property, a Star Wars show inspired by spaghetti western. And it's not an adaptation because it's its own story in the Star Wars universe, the same as like Loki or, you know, any of these new Falcon and Winter Soldiers. They exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they're their own storylines. But yes, it's its own story inspired by Western films.
All right, question. Did anyone read Twilight?
No.
Shit.
I did see the movies though.
Just Javi.
So just me?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I saw the movies though.
Did anybody read The Hunger Games?
I never read the books. No.
I didn't read those.
I read The Hunger Games. I was one of those people who was like into The Hunger Games, like fanatically into the books. when the whatever next one would come out, I was like, gotta have it. Obsessive with them. And then when the movies came out, I was like severely disappointed. I didn't like them at all. I don't even think I watched all of them because after the first one, I was like, no.
I thought they were pretty brutal. Like, I was like, I didn't know anything about the stories. I didn't know anything about the movies. I just started watching it. And like, I was like, whoa, man, these kids are just killing each other.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is kind of, this is morbid.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Lord of the Flies.
So that's why when I watched when I read the books, it is dark. It is deep. It is like there's people who die. And when somebody dies, there's like a whole reaction by the main character, like a whole dive into like how that makes them feel and like how that is affecting them moving forward. And then by the time you get to the end of the story or the end of the Hunger Games, there's so much reflection on like what they had to do to get there. They literally had to kill or be the survivor amongst like 12 something other people. So I just felt the movies lacked a lot of depth. It was like somebody would just die or get killed and they just move right on. That was my main thing. The second main thing for me was they put too many of the characters into the movie. Sometimes I feel like it makes most sense to you got to cut people completely out versus have them in for a snippet, because again, there's not enough time to develop their character if you're not writing a whole book about them and their relationship with the main protagonist.
You're like, who's this person? Why do I care about him?
Exactly, especially if you're just watching the movie. And then if you're watching it having read the book, you're like, wait, that person's way more important. Where are they going? And then you never see them again. And you're just like, this just isn't doing it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World also made a point with Game of Thrones might be one of the ones where it's better than the source material. I didn't read the Game of Thrones books, so I can't really say, but I do know that George R.R. Martin got lazy and never finished the books in time for the series, so they had to, the TV show had to basically finish it themselves,
right,
based off of his content, and so that was all right. I think an example of hey TJ,
definitely.
can you mute your mic?
Oh, sorry. I'm on the chat. I'm on the chat, guys. I'm sorry. They're like asking me to put myself on mute.
It's gonna bleed into the podcast.
I know. I'm sorry.
An example I think of it working where you adapt and make it your own. A good example of that was Ready Player One. Because Steven Spielberg took that book, which the book was fantastic, but all the references, the author is clearly a fanboy like we are, and so the whole book is basically just a nostalgia trip and references to all this stuff we love, but he's our age or a little bit older, so all his references are stuff in the 80s. It's like early Atari games and 80s synth pop bands and 80s movies like Pretty in Pink and stuff like that, The Breakfast Club. And so Spielberg, when he adapted the movie, adapted it into a movie, he took the same storyline, the same characters, but he took it and he modernized it for so that kids that are 15 now that watch the movie, they'll get the references. Because if a kid were to watch Ready Player One now and it's only referencing all the stuff that was referenced in the book, they wouldn't get it. They're like, I never watched Breakfast Club. So
yeah,
it was cool that he took the main story arc, the main antagonist, protagonist, and plot points, but then added in references like Jurassic Park or even stuff like Overwatch, which is a game that's relative now as opposed to Atari. And so I think that was a cool way to take something and make it your own, but it's still true to the source material.
Yeah, they kind of did that with the movie adaptation of it. I mean, I know the second one didn't really live up to what we wanted it to be, but their book is set the movie is in the 80s when they're kids, 70s or 80s, but the book is it's in the 40s or 50s when they're kids. So it's just adapted to what you can relate to, adults can relate to that grew up in the 80s,
And it works because right now the 80s is pretty popular.
Yeah.
You got shows like Stranger Things and all this stuff is it's very in vogue or whatever. The 80s, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Question.
Son of a...
Did anybody read the book 50 Shades of Grey?
No.
Sorry, no, I didn't. I did see the movie. I'm not even gonna lie, I did. It wasn't very good in my opinion, but
Did you listen to it on audio tape so that they could describe it to you real essentially?
Yeah, Javi.
So funny story. I was at the airport and I don't remember where I was going, probably Texas. And I kept looking around and I kept noticing that people had this kind of cool book that they were all reading. It was a lot of people were reading it. And I was like, well, what is that? And I caught the cover and the title and it was 50 Shades of Grey. And I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. I got some time to kill at the airport. So I go and I snag a copy and I just started maybe read the first chapter or whatever, and like didn't think twice. Put it in my luggage. Well, when I got back to Tennessee, I was telling somebody about it, and they were like, they were like, "So you haven't read the entire book?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And I was like, "Oh, it must be a good book," like because they wouldn't tell me anything about it. And then I just forgot about it. And then the movie came out, and I think I saw the movie with Amanda, but it was like, oh, now I see why. Why everything makes so much sense now.
Apparently, the book gets extremely graphic, but I don't know.
You should have seen. You should have seen the look on those women's faces when they were thinking about
how the
that
book describes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started getting all like red and flushed. I was like, oh.
There was probably a lot of words like eager or eager
or like maybe
longing,
throbbing.
longing,
Oh man.
bosom. Now I'm talking about a romance novel from the 40s. That's when they said heaving is another.
Oh man.
Anyway,
we're getting everybody hot right now.
I know.
On that note, I'm gonna cool off over here for a second.
Now on to the second book.
Get a cold beer.
50 Shades of Grey too.
Yeah.
There was a second book, right?
Yeah, there's like there's 3 books, aren't there?
There's like a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine where it goes.
I think
DJ's pretty quiet. She must have read it.
No, I have not read 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh shit.
Can you guys hear me?
I'll be right back, guys.
We lost you, TJ. Your mic cut out.
Hey, he's crying.
Hello? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
He's still on the podcast.
Oh no, Javi's baby's crying. I'm in the Discord chat, so we're kind of chatting off screen here. So, like I said, if you guys want to hang out with me, join it. But we're getting towards the end of it. But I know what 50 Shades of Grey is. I totally not interested in it. So there was no way I was like reading that book or watching that movie. I was like, this is not really the tea for me. But when I heard that you bought it at the airport, I was like, that's hilarious. Like, you have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's such a hobby thing to do, to just grab a random book off the shelf.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's low-key, just softcore porn.
That's a good story.
Here's the thing is, I bet Javi thought it was some kind of self-help book where it meant like life's not black or white. You got all the shades of gray. Because Javi's shaking his head no, but I don't know. I could see that like going through your head because you really enjoy like philosophical books and like self-help things. I see you read them a lot. So just in my mind, I could see that going through your head as you're just like looking at the bookshelf and you see 50 Shades of Grey, like in your head, it being like some sort of like theme like that, not having any clue that it's sexual or.
No, the cover was cool, and I saw like at least like 2 or 3 people reading it, and I was like, it must be a good book. So
were they
and I had time to kill,
women?
so I was like,
were they middle-aged white women reading it?
Yeah.
Basic. Soccer moms. It's all the soccer moms.
So I have 100% bought a book based on the cover. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Or I've rented movies.
Only like
at the title.
Only like at a book fair in school. I've never really been a big reader. I mean, I have read books. I've read like The Outsiders and stuff.
Actually, as a kid, I think that's
like,
how I got
it.
That's
on a book. That's a great movie based on a book.
Yeah. That was a good adaptation for sure.
Yeah. And they make you watch that like in middle school to like teach you about life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to read the book too though, but like back in school. I also had to read like Beowulf. Didn't they make a Beowulf movie?
Mm-hmm. I didn't like it.
I loved it.
Really?
The new one, the CG one? Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm talking about that, yeah. Because was there like an older, like classic Beowulf film? I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't. I think it came out around the same time. A lot of those Greek things like Clash of the Titans came out, and
That was all big. Yeah.
it was all
Mhm.
big. And I was just like, I think I didn't like the way some of the characters looked in Beowulf. And
So when I first watched it, like I didn't really, I was just watching it mindlessly and it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, it's pretty good, whatever. But I just recently rewatched it, and like the way that they motion captured all the characters and the way that like the script is just it's so deep. Like they capture the depth of the story, they capture the depth and emotion of the characters. And I was just like, holy shit, like how did I miss this the first time that I watched it? Probably because I was young and dumb and mindless. But the second time around,
Well,
I was like, damn, this is really good. Because it's
what
like
movie were you talking about?
Beowulf.
Oh, okay.
Because like the king and like sleeps with that like woman demon, and then that's how they got that character that plagues the castle. And then Beowulf comes along, slays the demon. He's like, I'm such a badass, but ends up going following the same footsteps as the king and sleeping with that woman demon. And it's just like it's one of those things that like as a man or a guy, like you can relate to that. You're like, you can be this top dude, this real strong guy, but like if you can't, overcome that demon that so many of us men know about, like you're
Succubus.
fucked.
I think they're called the succubus.
succubus.
Yeah.
the sirens, or
Sirens
Yeah.
is like in the water.
Keep
I'm,
it in
I'm
your
listening
pants,
to the
guys.
Witcher book series.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Pretty
it was
much.
Succubus.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Story of our lives.
I mean, those characters are
here's-
created for a reason.
Here's a
Crazy.
good
I can't
example
relate
of
to that.
a bad adaptation. Is the chat brought up World War Z. Like I
Mm.
thought that film was a terrible adaptation of the book. Like, and I get that it's hard. That's a hard book to adapt because it's basically jumping around. It's almost it's like a news reporter telling the accounts of the zombie apocalypse from all these different perspectives. Like they're going around the world and meeting and interviewing these people, these survivors, and hearing their story on what they were doing when the zombie apocalypse happened and how they survived it. And so I get that's so it's almost the book almost reads like a collection of short stories in a sense. So I get that's kind of hard to adapt, but the book it's like George A. Romero zombies, like slow walking, like raised from the dead voodoo zombies, and then you get World War Z that's like Tom Cruise. There's like seas of zombies and people just sprinting through the streets, climbing up buildings, jumping off roofs, pulling helicopters down, and it's like, what is this insanity that I'm watching? It was super blockbuster, super like basically The Rock should have been in it at some point, and it was bad.
I never saw it or read the book, and I heard the movie was like worth a watch. And we're the zombie band, so we kind of have to keep up on all things zombies.
I mean,
And-
I probably would have enjoyed it if it wasn't called World War Z. If
They just branded it something different.
Yeah, if they called it like Tom Cruise versus the zombies, like I would have liked it because it would have sounded B movie blockbuster, and it would have watched that way.
I don't know. Because I haven't read many books besides like the Harry Potters and the Outsiders, but I read a book called And Then There Were None. It's also called like 10 Little Indians. It's like a murder mystery book. It's super good. And they actually did a movie about it, and it was terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Also, by the way, Steve keeps saying like Tom Cruise, and it's Brad Pitt in that movie.
Oh, whatever. I knew it was one of the pretty boys.
Just annoying the shit out of me.
It was one of the pretty boys.
Steve just got owned on
served on
live
air,
stream.
live.
Also, the
Man.
world-renowned historian says, way to loop it back around, Steve. You have convinced me on respecting source material.
Ooh.
Oh,
There you
Well,
go, Steve. That's your specialty.
I'm here to serve. I've got lots of wisdom. got lots of years and knowledge.
Oh man,
I've
he
seen
watches a lot of
things.
movies. He plays a lot of games. So it's basically what he
Listen
does.
to a lot of books. I'm interested to see what The Witcher season 2 turns out like now that I've got only 2 books left in the series.
So what's
Ender's
another
Game
like
was a good
bad?
adaptation.
What's another like bad? What about you, Javi? What's your favorite like book from a movie or movie from a book? Sorry, there's so many. Even The Wizard of Oz was a book, and like a lot. I mean, it's not really. Isn't that crazy? Like, nobody
See,
really
the
thinks about
problem on my end is that I'm not big into fiction. I like real stuff, stuff that you can. So that being said, like Lord of the Rings would probably be the one where it's like, that's like crazy fantasy, and I'm like, I actually did. I saw the cartoon first, and then I read the books when I was in school, and then the movie came out, and I was just blown away. So that'd probably be the one for me. If I think of anything else, I'll bring it up.
Another book that I read that got turned into movie was called. The book is called Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic. Now this is just like fiction, fluffy, fun, and it's written by this British woman, and there's like a whole like series of these books, like Shopaholic Goes Abroad, Shopaholic and Baby, like all these like cute books, and I just got hooked on them because it was they're just cute. They're just cute reads, and it got turned into a movie, and they changed the name then it was called Confessions of a Shopaholic. Starred Isla Fisher, and y'all probably never saw it. It's kind of like a romantic comedy.
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
But they made her like, so the books are British, so everything in the book is like, they talk about London being where she's from, and like everything is based in London, and the person that she falls in love with is like a banker in London. Like everything is like based in British. But I think when they went for the movie, they were like, well, this won't work, so everything became like Americanized. So it's completely like, everything was completely different. Like it just lacked a lot of the depth. I mean, even for like a fluffy, cute read, it still had some depth to the character, and it's like a funny book. So I don't know, the movie, like I didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Javi,
Oh yeah,
though,
Goosebumps, you guys. What about Goosebumps?
Oh,
Doolin
Goosebumps.
just pointed
I
that
just-
out.
I watched a couple of those, or read a couple of those books, but more
was just
so the
weird.
TV shows.
The
Yeah,
TV
see, and I was
show,
so young,
Yeah, there was
I
a
don't-
TV show.
Yeah, and I used to watch, like, I've read the book and the episode, but I was like so young, I don't know if I enjoyed them both. They were both-
The TV show is like on Amazon Prime or like somewhere, and of course Jordan found it, and they're not good, right? They're like old Disney Channel, like,
yeah.
horror, like whatever. And then there was a movie with Jack Black, the Goosebumps. There's like 2 of them.
It was
kind
okay.
of loosely based on the characters, but there's not really. It's like those are
Yeah, it was
short
characters from
books.
all the. It was interesting the way they did it by pulling in characters from all
Mhm.
the books. Under the plot of like whatever R.L. Stein is, Jack Black's R.L. Stein, and his books are kind of like coming to life
I don't
and
know.
terrorizing the town or
Yeah.
something. But
Mhm.
it was interesting not doing it based off of just one single book. And then also I get it, it's young adult, but I didn't find it creepy, or there weren't even really like jump scares.
Yeah.
I forgot you guys
found-
were talking about the movie. I've just watched the shows. I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, I never saw the movie either, but when I was a kid, I legitimately thought some of those episodes were scary, like the mask one,
Yes.
when she puts the
yeah.
mask on. That used to
She's like,
terrify me, man.
I can't get it off.
Yeah, I
can't
was
get
like,
it
oh,
off.
no.
It's attached to my skin.
Yeah, that was scary
They-
shit.
You're like,
the
holy
shrunk
Yeah,
shit.
they
head
scared
one.
me as a kid.
Yeah.
World-renowned
Terror
historian said, "Isn't that like Are You Afraid of the Dark?" It's
Oh
The
yeah.
show was kind of the
Yeah.
same. Javi,
I used to watch that one too.
Javi, I
Mhm.
noticed that you have a Roald Dahl. Is that a book?
This is a gold mine, is what it is. You're looking at gold.
Because I am
me
reminded
ask.
of one of the greatest, children's books, Matilda, made into a really cool movie.
It's a
So that's
collection,
another,
actually.
the Roald Dahl collection. I read a lot of Roald Dahl as a kid.
So I picked this up at a garage sale, and I was gonna
That's
resell it,
awesome.
but nobody. I mean, people looked at it, but I haven't sold it, so I figured I would just read it to Eli when he gets old enough. But like, Matilda is probably one of my favorite movies, and so one day I'll probably read it. But yeah, a lot of these books are just like awesome movies. So I don't know. The books, I'm sure, have to be good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, I didn't even like realize that.
See, I didn't
Oh
either.
yeah.
Because we
That's
talked about
crazy.
in the last stream, we talked about
Nice.
Willy Wonka, like the remake with Johnny Depp being like horrible and like never mess with the Gene Wilder original. Like he is that character. But it never even like clicked to me that that was a children's book.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
dude, can you? So there's a ton that have been made into movies. So you've got this one. Oh, if I can-
and
This
Alex
one was a
pointed
really
out
good one too.
Alex
James and the Giant Peach.
yeah,
That
Oh
was a good
yeah.
movie.
that's a cool the
Yeah.
stop motion animation.
What about
Speaking- Or go ahead, Josh.
well no, I was just curious. I know it didn't get a lot of good reviews, but did you any of you ever read like the series of Unfortunate Events? Like those books?
No.
Dude, I thought that movie was fantastic.
I liked it too. I guess people they condense like the first 3 books into that one movie, but the books are short, you know, they're not like the length of Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something, you know. Cuz I liked it. I mean, Jim Carrey's of course good in it, but I really liked it.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
apparently-
I could see how they did that because there's like in the movie, there's like 3 different locations that they're at.
yeah,
Like the
it's like
uncle's
the
house and
yeah, it's
well,
3
it's
different
always
books.
him, but
So I think I read the first one, but I mean, combining 3 different books, I'm sure they cut out a lot of stuff, and that's why people didn't really like it. And they didn't keep making them because I guess it just didn't do that well. But
speaking of kids adaptations, and then you brought up Goosebumps earlier, one of the more recent ones that I was kind of disappointed in. It wasn't bad, but I guess it just didn't live up to my expectations. Was Stories to Tell in the Dark. That old creepy children's book I had it when I was a kid, and I have it now, and it's a bunch of short stories, like horror stories made for kids or young adults, but the guy who did the artwork did the creepiest. The artwork is like the artwork is actually more nostalgic and notorious than the stories themselves. Like if people remember anything from that book, it's the artwork. But Guillermo del Toro did an adaptation of it into a film, and I was just like, Guillermo is amazing. I love him as a director. His style is great, and I thought the movie was pretty good, and it had some creepy parts. Some of the characters from the short stories he adapted were cool, but overall, it ended up being more of kind of like a teen movie, and not as creepy as I had hoped. But it wasn't bad. It just I don't know. I guess I wanted it to really scare me, but I guess it's based off of a kid's book, so you know. But I just remember the images in the book being so haunting.
yeah,
But I think we're kind of at the end here. I gotta wrap up and do an interview in a little bit. So I don't know if the chat has any last wrap up questions they want to ask, any comments about films. If you guys have anything to share with the fans, got anything fun coming up this week?
What's the next topic for next week?
We had another one, but we may think I may throw it out to the patrons, have them shoot us some ideas, or we'll think of something before next week. Because we had talked about incorporating into this week's topic games into movies, because that's another one where it's like they're usually bad, but up until recently, like you said, Javi, Mortal Kombat was a good movie. The Detective Pikachu was good. Like they're starting to be good, but
Sonic.
But that could have been rolled into this week. I don't know if that needs to be a whole topic.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
The best, I think, is still the original Silent Hill.
Yeah. I not to get into that topic too much, but did you see they're rebooting Resident Evil?
I did.
Making it closer. How do you feel about those images they released though?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
The main thing is people's comments about how Leon looked, but
yeah,
I don't care as long as he acts. My main thing is the guy said it's going to be hard R, and he said it's going to be in the mansion, and he's going for the he's a big fan of the game, so hopefully.
Oh, good. That'd be good.
I've got one.
Yeah. Shoot, Javi.
Doom.
Oh god, that was so bad.
I never saw the movie.
But hear me out.
The Rock's
the movie,
in that, right?
The movie was all right, but if y'all have ever played Doom 3, holy shit. Like if you're in a room by yourself with headphones, lights turned out, it's like the scariest shit.
It was so creepy. It was so hard to get through that game when it came out. Now it's on Xbox now, like it's on Game Pass, but it's not as creepy anymore. But yeah, when it came out, but yeah, that was one of those where they changed the whole. They basically made it Resident Evil in space, is what the movie ended up being. It was like a science lab, and some experiment went wrong, and then there were like zombies and stuff. And I'm like, that's not Doom. Doom that they were basing it off of. It was a lab on Mars, and they accidentally drilled into Earth and opened a portal to hell, and like demons came out.
I thought that's what Doom was. They were on Mars.
They were on Mars, but it was all like it was a viral thing. They turned it into a viral thing, like almost like
COVID.
They didn't make it a hell thing, or they kept Satan out of it.
Got you.
But I don't know. TJ is in her own world there. I don't know if she has some wrap up thoughts.
Looks like she's talking to her knees.
I'm talking to the guys on Discord, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to listen to 100 things at once. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is post podcast stuff.
Post podcast, then we'll hang out in the Discord channel.
Right.
But yeah, we're talking about how we can make this all work, because if all 4 of you can join this voice channel as well, and we can start to do chats that aren't on the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, with the Zoom though.
But apparently there's a way for us to do video on Discord too.
Discord, and they do it, but you have to do the video on Discord as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will hook up to Streamlabs. I don't know, or it would just go to Twitch. I don't really know. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got to figure something out, because otherwise it's just people talking, and then there's other voices in the background, and the people listening to the podcast are like, "What's happening?
Who's she talking?" And then I just turn my volume off. I don't have no idea what you guys talked about for the last 5 minutes, but
that's the Halloween.
We got to wrap it up. So I was asking
special.
for last minute questions and the last minute comments before we.
Let's wrap it up, guys. I know we spent a lot of time kind of catching up in basically the whole first hour of the stream. I think this topic of books that got turned into movies is a really interesting topic. We could definitely go on it. And so I would like to do part 2, even the sequels. We completely remakes. We completely forgot to talk about Indiana Jones trilogy. We left out a bunch of good stuff. So you guys hang out with us on our Patreon. Give us some more ideas of some more movies that you love, books that you love, because we want to talk about this some more.
Yeah, we can fold in the games to film thing with that. Make it a whole thing.
Cool.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Now that we kind of are back into some normalcy with our scheduling, I think we can start keeping this consistent. We know Javi's schedule now, so I think the goal will be Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central.
All right,
So
guys.
we'll do that.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're a patron producer, keep an eye on the mailbox. I'll be mailing those out soon, and zip it up.